Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Kevin from Critical Ring Theory, and today I decided to make a long-awaited little podcast type video where I want to talk about something from AEW. Now, on this podcast, between the two of us, me and my friend Pavin, basically he's kind of a bigger independent AEW guy. He's been really just tired of the WWE product for a long time. I'm kind of still a WWE loyalist, so I don't really get upset about it too much. But I've been watching AEW. A lot of it has been good. It's been interesting. I'm all for competition. I just didn't like a lot of the crap that a lot of like super over AEW people were saying about WWE, making it seem like it'd be really easy to have a good product when I think AEW's had some really dicey product. And frankly, if Chris Jericho wasn't in the company, I wouldn't be shocked if people just wouldn't be paying attention at that point anymore. Even though they have people that are really interesting, like a John Moxley, of course, the Young Bucks, and a Kenny Omega, and they also have one of the greatest tag teams on the planet. In Phoenix and Pentagon. So I think that there's actually a lot of good things there, but they quite haven't figured out how to make it work. Maybe with an addition of like a Marty Scurll, but still they got to make him known in America because no one knows who Marty Scurll is. He's not exactly Hulk Hogan, you know? But really what I want to talk about today is, real quick, I want to talk about the booking of Kenny Omega. Now, Kenny Omega is a guy I actually like a lot, even though I haven't seen him nearly as much as many of you smarks out there. Obviously, he's very talented. He's very flamboyant. I was fortunate that I got to go to AEW Full Gear with Pavin in Baltimore, and we got to see the Kenny Omega match up close and personal. Kind of, the match that a lot of people were really giving a lot of crap to for how over the top it was with violence. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a weird match for me to see Kenny Omega do, considering how talented he is. Obviously, it's up Mox's alley. But that was kind of indicative to me, personally, what I think of Kenny Omega right now in his run in AEW. Chris Jericho is the number one guy you should build around. AEW nailed that, in my opinion. They put the title on him. He's had an amazing run. Creating the Inner Circle was perfect. That's been able to put over a few guys that maybe you weren't as familiar with, or even if you were in WWE, that you didn't care so much about. Like Jack Hager, Jake Hager, whatever you want to call him, Jack Swagger, Jack Hager, whatever. He's like one of those, but really Sammy Guevara is the one who's kind of benefited the most. And thankfully, Chris Jericho has been able to kind of make some other people. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up making someone like a Scorpio Sky eventually, and something with like maybe Darby Allin, who's looking really good in AEW. But regardless, I digress. Kenny Omega has not been on the receiving end of anything good so far, in my opinion. It's all been bad. Highly underutilized for a guy of his talent. Yeah, he's been thrown in with like the Bucks on occasion, which obviously it ties back to, the old New Japan days and the Bullet Club and making the Elite and all that kind of fun stuff. That's been really important that they've continued that. But the problem is, even though he may have been the best wrestler in the world for a period of time, he may have been the most prominent one in Japan or non-WWE, the problem is WWE rules the roost in the United States of America. And Kenny Omega may be huge there, but he is not number one here. So they really have spent this strategy of trying to get these top guys, or at least most of the top guys, to put over young talent. That was a smart thing to some degree, where they needed to make sure that these guys were going to make new characters. Like Darby Allin, for example. That's a bigger one for me. Like, I had no idea who Darby Allin was, but thankfully, because of some of his programs, he now looks quite good. It was really smart for the Young Bucks to not be the first ones to get the tag team titles. I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was a guarantee they were going to be the ones to take them, but it was good that they had not. And it's good that Cody Rhodes is, even though he is kind of the top babyface in the company, it looks like he probably won't be forever. Now, Hangman Page, of course, was known. Now, Hangman Page was also, of course, was known abroad as well, but I think he's eventually going to get to a point where he's going to be one of the top guys, but he's even been underutilized for what he could be. So Kenny Omega, to me, is kind of this awful tragedy at the moment. Maybe their plan is to keep him losing. I mean, right now he's got a 1-2 singles record, and he has a 2-3 overall record in AEW. Again, this is where that initial criticism of having a wins-loss record mattering is kind of going against Kenny Omega, because how do you justify him being put into these big matches when he's losing? When you have these other people that have a superior record to him at the moment, but still Kenny Omega is probably going to be put into these big spots. I mean, Chris Jericho right now has the best record of everybody. He is 4-0 as a singles competitor, but you have some other people that at least are kind of similar-ish, or at least doing a little bit better. I mean, Evil Uno has a 3-0 record right now. Admittedly, that's part of a tag team setup, but Cody Rhodes, maybe he's probably the second best one at 3-1-1 record. But looking at that, like, it's hard to justify that Kenny Omega should really kind of be in the top top echelon here. Actually, MJF's got a good one. He is a 2-1 record, so he's the guy that you probably would see in the picture even above a Kenny Omega, which is pretty impressive. And dang, look at this real quick, staggering. This is the women's division, of course, and I'm sure that's not a surprise. Riho has a 3-0 record as a singles and 5-1 overall, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. So I think what they're doing with Kenny Omega, it's like they could be doing better. There's a lot of talent on the roster. I'm glad to see that MJF has done super well on his own, and it looks like he's getting into the top spot. That heel turn was brilliant. When we were at Full Gear, we kind of saw it coming, but it was nice to see it manifest. But Kenny Omega, someone like him, he should be able to do a lot better. Even same with Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes is an 0-3 record right now. That's pretty awful. But hey, I'm a giant Chris Jericho fan. I think he's the best thing in wrestling right now, mainly because he's being given that spot on AEW, and I hope that continues. But hopefully the tragedy of Kenny Omega being bad, I mean, he may have to become a bad guy whenever Jericho kind of like taps out for a little bit, because, you know, he's old. He's got that dad bod. He's probably going to have to stop. And when that happens, it'd probably be best if Kenny Omega became a bad guy and you did a little more with that. Either him or Hangman are going to have to be the bad guy in order to make this work, because right now what they have going, it's not the secret sauce. They're going a little too extreme with the idea that they should be putting over young guys. It's starting to look bad. I think it's really starting to look bad for these guys. On the plus side, Pac looks pretty good. Looks like he's got a 2-0 record right now according to the AEW website. So it looks like he's doing okay, and he's a guy that really kind of sort of got a raw deal in WWE. And what I mean by that is I think his King of the Cruiserweights work was outstanding. And I really thought that it was going to go somewhere, but I guess he didn't want to stay in the Cruiserweight division all that much longer, even though I thought he was kind of reinventing it. So I figured that would have been kind of a cool thing. But, you know, when you really believe in yourself, you don't accept for anything less. I mean, hell, that's why AEW is what it is. Cody Rhodes kind of pushed that forward. And Chris Jericho, he's got enough money and he's bored that I'm sure that he hopped along. But I have a feeling that Cody and Friends is going to go away if they don't figure out how to get their top guys into these top spots where people actually care. Because right now, Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy are way more appealing than Kenny Omega to me. And that is just gross. That is gross because they all lose. Luchasaurus has an 0-3 record. Marco Stunt has an 0-2 record right now. And where's Jungle Boy at? How's he doing? Oh, he's an 0-4 record. They haven't won yet. And they are one of the biggest attractions in the company. They're the R-Truth of this company. They'll stick around forever, but pretty much do very little significant. But that's it. Hopefully that this gets fixed a little bit eventually because, you know, Kenny Omega's too good for this kind of thing. But let me know if you agree, if you disagree with this. Let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear a little bit more talk from you all as whether or not you think this is going to change anytime soon or this is turning you off from AEW in general. Hope you all have an amazing day, everyone. You take care. Goodbye.